From enemies to friends. I 16M grew up in a rough part of town. Money's tight, and most days, my mum works double shifts just to keep us afloat. School was never my favourite place, I'm not the best student, and a lot of kids there like to remind me of it. Still, it's better than sitting at home worrying if we'll make rent this month. Then there's Ethan 16M. If you were casting a rich kid in a movie, you'd pick him. Always in designer clothes, rolling up to school in a shiny black SUV with tinted windows, and hanging out with the other kids who seem to have never worked a day in their lives. To top it off, he's brilliant. Straight A student, plays on the soccer team, and always gets picked to lead group projects. Basically, the opposite of me. I hated him. He was the kind of guy who didn't have to try but still wanted everything. And Ethan, he acted like I didn't exist, which made it worse. One day, we got paired together for a group project in history. Great. I figured he'd either do all the work and complain about me or expect me to carry my weight while he did nothing. Surprisingly, he just said, "Let's meet after school at the library. We'll divide the work." When we met, I came ready for him to be condescending or rude. Instead, Ethan asked me what part of the project I wanted to do. I was caught off guard and mumbled something about researching. He nodded and said he'd handle organizing it all. By the end of the hour, I realized he wasn't bossy, he was efficient. One day, after a long study session, Ethan said, "Want to grab food?" My treat. At first, I hesitated, but my stomach growled, so I gave in. We ended up at this little burger joint, and it was the first time we really talked outside of school. I told him about my mum and how hard she worked, and he actually listened. Over the next week, we worked on the project together. The more time we spent together, the more I realized he wasn't the guy I thought he was. Sure, he had money, but he didn't act like it. He told me he hated how everyone assumed his life was perfect just because his family was well off. He said his dad was always busy and barely spoke to him unless it was to criticize his grades or soccer. "I can't imagine having to worry about that," he said. "You're tougher than me, man." That hit me. For the first time, someone didn't pity me or look down on me, they respected me. Over time, we started hanging out more. He invited me over to his place once, and I was floored by how massive it was. But Ethan didn't seem happy about it. "It's just a big empty house," he said. Eventually, I invited him to my apartment. I was nervous, it's small, and we don't have much, but Ethan was chill. He even helped my mum carry groceries up the stairs and complimented her cooking, which she still talks about. Now, Ethan and I are good friends. We help each other out, he helps me with schoolwork, and I've taught him how to relax and not care so much about what others think. We even teamed up to coach some younger kids in soccer. Funny how life works. The guy I thought was my enemy turned out to be one of the best friends I've ever had. Sometimes people just need a chance to prove who they really are.